Welcome, everybody. This is the Otaku Underground. I'm your host, the Otaku Sensei, and we're going to be discussing Dragonball Absalon, the future of it for parts 6.2 and beyond, and I've got 10 precious spoilers for you today. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and get right into it. So our first spoiler of the day, actually, first of all, let me go ahead and claim this, or throw this out there for you guys. I'm one of Mellavelli's Patrons. I've been reading his manga, the book of Xicor, the mashup history that he's got out there. You guys should absolutely take a look into this for you. I've actually got some recordings that were done that I haven't published or put out there, but I get this from a Q&A sessions that we had strictly from the physical release or the actual release of episode 6.1. If you guys remember that, or those who have subscribed to him, he did a live Q&A session right after he put this out there, and so there's about 100 of us or so that were in the chat room. So for those who were in the chat room, you pretty much know everything. For those that missed out and were not a part of his live sessions earlier when he put out episode 6.1, this is going to be new news for you. If you don't know anything or want to know anything about this, just bail now, because we are really going to get into some hot shit here. All right, so for our first spoiler of the day, Gohan is going to tell us about how our Gohan, not future Gohan, got his tail back. Apparently in the manga he gave us a spoiler at the end of the mashup history arc 2. In the last panel, the hint is that the last panel helps explain how he got his tail back. If you remember, for those who have read it, in the last panel we see the back of someone's leg and their foot from behind, but it's kind of hard to tell who that actually is, but apparently this character has something to do with how he got his tail back and may have some importance in the Absalon anime that he's doing. The next thing about Gohan is we're going to learn more about Gohan's power absorption technique. If you remember, apparently it said that Gohan is able to withdraw power from the planet, and yet he chooses not to do so. So we're going to learn more details about this technique. Apparently he learns it from someone. We have no idea who that is, though, so it's not a given that it was the Kais that built upon his mystic transformation. All right, so that's spoiler number 1. We're going to jump right into it with this, a huge one, guys. Huge one. If you still don't want to know, back out right now, because spoiler 2 is a fusion between 2 female characters, something we have yet to see. So for the first time, we're going to get to see the fusion of 2 female characters in the form of Bra and Pan. We don't have a name for this character yet that's been released, but this could still be a really sick transformation, and I'm really looking forward to finding out more about it, what it's going to look like, how she's going to sound. It's going to be great. I'm sure all of you guys are excited for that as well. Spoiler number 3. All right, guys, so what's going on with Future Trunks? If you remember, the last time we saw him in the anime, he had just arrived via the time machine, passed his store to younger Trunks, and just kind of went on about his way. We haven't seen him since, right? All right, so in the Q&A, Mellavelli has told us that Future Trunks is actually on his way to save the younger generation. If you remember in episode 4, Bulma is at the Capsule Corporation with Lillian, who you guys may not know is Trunks and Bra's younger sister. Bra and Pan are also obviously there, and Pan's children with Maju, their sons Brahm and Naz. So we will be able to get to see a fight scene between a fused Pan and Bra, one of the Saiyans from Absalon, and Future Trunks intervening at some point. Alright, spoiler number 4. This sounds pretty sick. Alright, so apparently there are going to be some form of SEAL commandos. There are going to be 4 elite guard, and one of which we know the identity of, and 3 people whose identity have not yet been confirmed, so we don't know their names, we don't know what they look like, but one of them has already been revealed to us in the anime. Not quite sure who it is yet, because that's really, all he said in the Q&A is that he's going to have these 4 elite guard, and one of them has already been revealed to us, so we should be able to look forward to some of the Z fighters going up against some more badass fights in the future. Alright guys, so spoiler number 5, this is something that I've really been looking forward to in Dragon Ball Z. Hopefully we'll get to it more in Dragon Ball Super, but what we're going to see is younger Trunks wants his father, or Vegeta, to recognize himself as King of the Saiyans. Like come on, I mean, Dragon Ball Z, where Vegeta has been calling himself Prince of the Saiyans since his father died when he was a kid. At some point you gotta grow up, man up, do some character development here, guys, and have Vegeta recognize himself as King of the Saiyans. Come on, we all want it. That's a badass label, right? So spoiler number 6, related to spoiler number 5, Mellavelli has mentioned to us that he's like a queen of the Saiyans to show up within the series. Obviously, I want to say that that'd be Bulma, but he informed us that this this female character, is going to have some sort of a lead role in the future of the series. So we want to say, obviously, since Bulma is Vegeta's wife, that it will be Bulma. Not yet identified, though, or stated or confirmed in any way whatsoever that the Queen of the Saiyans will actually be Bulma, though. But that's something that we should still look forward to. We also got a cool bonus during the live stream, during the Q&A session. Another animator showed up by the name of MAStar, someone who Mellavelli knows, does sketches with. So what happened during the Q&A is this guy pretty much just showed up in the channel, was on Twitch, wasn't a channel, or wasn't on a YouTube broadcast, but basically shows up in the channel, and the two of them decide to really just start sketching on the spot, which was awesome. MAStar's got a YouTube channel for you guys to follow as well. The two of them really did just an impromptu tag team doing some sketches of what I believe we'll be seeing in the near future. We'll know for sure if we end up seeing his name in the credits of a future episode. So what we really saw again was Mellavelli just started sketching some scenes live, and the idea was for him to pass it on to MAStar so that he'd be able to do some sketches and then really just pass it back and forth. It was a pretty cool live show. I got a lot of respect for what Mellavelli does. I loved the direction of where this series is taking, where it's going actually. All right, so with that said, we're gonna jump right into spoiler number 7. For all the Broly fans out there, this is for you. So for the Broly fans, we've got a little bit of a treat. There is going to be another Saiyan coming in the series that has Broly's DNA. Mellavelli has informed us that the DNA was extracted from Broly and placed into another Saiyan. So it doesn't seem to be like a clone that was taken in, one of those movies way back when there's basically a clone of Broly. It looks to be that there was some intervention where Broly's DNA was taken and placed inside someone else. He didn't come out and flat out and say, by he, I mean Mellavelli, didn't flat out come out and say that it was going to be, the return of Broly, but we should absolutely expect some form of an interesting twist here. Needless to say, we've got a lot of interesting villains coming down the line to say, at the very least. Alright guys, so spoiler number 8. For fans of the manga, the book of Xicor 2, where we saw future Gohan and future Trunks fused via the Patron earrings. Finally, hopefully going to be getting a second chapter. Again, no release date. Don't expect it anytime soon. He says that it will take about another 2 weeks to complete from beginning to finish. So don't expect it to again be like 2 weeks out from whenever this is placed on the internet for you guys to view. But it will take him from where he's at now. It'll take him 2 weeks to draw out, complete, and post up on his site Max Gene Animation. I don't think that's going to be on his YouTube channel. But again, 2 weeks to complete the process in total. Right now, there will be one more project that he says that he wants to complete before we get Book of Xicor 2, and then he's going to work on a few other side projects that aren't really related to Absalon. Alright guys, so we're almost through all 10 here. So spoiler number 9, for the Patron subscribers, Mellavelli said he was going to start releasing some extra content to them beforehand, either early advances, live broadcasts of him in the making, of these episodes. He'll announce when he'll do it, create the room beforehand. We'll get our invites and be able to discuss, the upcoming plot episodes with him. We'll probably get some content about hopefully 3 to 6 months before the releases. So that's what Mellavelli has said again in this Q&A session. And I'm a patron myself. I really enjoy the content. I subscribe up to him. You guys should too. Fantastic fan art, story development that we're getting. Obviously, this guy's got over 14 million hits within the first episode. It sucked that it's taken some time to get episode to episode, which is why he's broken that up within parts so that the series will hopefully survive and continue over time. But I love what he's doing. And we should support him. Great storytelling, great ideas that should absolutely be taken from Dragon Ball Super, taken into Dragon Ball Super, shall I say? Let's see, guys. So that's about it. We've gone through 9 spoilers so far. Last but not least, spoiler number 10. So we said that we should be able to expect a lot more from future Trunks and future Gohan. So the thing with future Gohan, though, is that if you recall in the Dragon Ball Z saga, Gohan loses his arm against the androids. So, for example, what I meant to say earlier was that this is somewhat related to spoiler number 9, where Mellavelli is going to give the patrons some more, pre-content that's before the episodes are released. What we learned from, at least I was able to gather from the Q&A session, was that he kind of, I feel like I got the gist that he wanted us to be included, and he wants our thoughts to be valued. You know, he likes our feedback. And if you remember, again, in the Dragon Ball Z saga, future Gohan loses his arm against the fight against the androids. And so he's kind of rattled around with the idea of how we are going to see future Gohan, right? So, for example, he's got the story in the back of his head, but the story is certainly open to some feedback. So for the fan introduction or fan ideas that we should be able to get with future Gohan, maybe in the next session that the patrons may get, or if he gets to do a live Q&A session, so where we get to toss in our feedback, he's going to let the fans kind of, not necessarily put it up for his vote, but I think he will kind of consider where we kind of stand. So will future Gohan come back without his arm, with his arm, or with some sort of cybernetic implant on an arm, right? 3 huge kind of topics that we get to kind of discuss. It makes sense to me for if they're going to wish Gohan back, that he should come back with his full body intact. But as we've seen with the Dragon Balls in the past before, when Saiyans have died, which is also kind of pisses me off, that one, if they die and then come back, wish back, whether it's either be Gohan, Goku, Trunks, Vegeta, whoever, none of these guys are getting their tails back. Gohan, Goku, and Vegeta should have at least gotten their tails back. So we don't know if we'll have future Gohan come back without his arm. He's going to not necessarily leave the decision to us, but again, consider our thoughts on the topic. Mellavelli has seen some fan art of future Gohan with a cybernetic arm, and it seems to be playing the idea of possibly including something like that, you know, for future Gohan. If you're interested in the idea, definitely bring it up to him in the next Q&A session or his live broadcast. He really tries to answer all of the questions in the chat room. Before I left for the day, during the chat room, there was about 100 people in the room at its peak, I'd like to say, and this was around the time MAStar joined the session. Alright guys, so those are our 10 spoilers for Dragon Ball Absalon for parts 6.2 and beyond. These are literally from, you know, Mellavelli's words from himself. I'm really just reiterating what was said during that live chat session. If you haven't subscribed to him, be sure to do so. If you can afford to become a patron, I would do it. I love, you know, kind of supporting these you know, really, these are fans themselves that are really creating this for us to share and enjoy. So if you can support them, do so. Great artwork, again, great compelling storytelling that we all can appreciate. And that's it, guys. That's it for the first episode of the Otaku Underground. Appreciate you guys. Feel free to subscribe. Don't know what we'll be talking about next yet, but why not, right? Anyways, appreciate it, guys. Take care.